Welcome to Super Agents Live. This is the one place where you can come and hear the most successful people in real estate. You'll hear how these super agents built their businesses, how they stay productive, and how they stay motivated. Who am I? My name's Toby Salgado, and I made my first million in real estate. And I'm your host for the next 30 minutes while we talk to yet another amazing real estate entrepreneur. Stay tuned.
Let's go! Yeah!
Today's episode is brought to you by Real Estate Radio Experts. You guys know, we've been talking about it. You hear it on the show. You know, these top producers doing 200 or more deals a year, they're all on radio or television. It's not as expensive as you think. If you want to level up, I mean, come on, guys. We're in Q4 2015. You listen to the show. You have been listening to this show. I want you guys to have a strong double your business year in 2016. So start planning right now for what you're going to do in marketing. And if you have the right size team, would love to have you on radio. Now, look, today's guest is a repeat guest. He is a frequent speaker out in the world of real estate. So you'll kind of hear that. You'll kind of hear that tone as we talk about things. It's less of a discussion, more for him of a delivery, which is okay. But here's why you should listen to the guy. He's a good guy. He's been in real estate for, I think, less than 10 years. I want to say 6 or 8. But this year, he'll do 700 deals as a team, his team. He'll net about $700,000, but he only works a couple hours a week. So he did that by building his team. And implementing systems. Now the deal is we talk about when to go full time. We talk about when you start building a team. We talk about recruiting, and he breaks down in his view the myth of going out and finding top talent. He's like, it's not about talent, it's about the systems you plug that talent into. He's like, for him, he says, I'll take a typical average agent, plug him into our systems, and the guy will do 30, 40, 50 deals that year, or girl, whatever. So we talk about that. We talk, and throughout this episode, he gets very, very specific. We talk about the systems and processes that he has in place, and very specifically how to handle call flow, how to handle lead flow, what to do once you get a lead. So I think this is one of the ones you are going to want to take notes on. And real quick, guys, I don't know what's been going on, but the show has been absolutely blowing up the last 2 weeks. I mean, blowing up. So I don't know if we got press like in the New York Times. I don't know what happened, but it's been going off. So if you're new to the show, I'm glad you found it. And look, we do talk about real estate stuff, but if you don't sell real estate, that's fine. This show is about entrepreneurship through the lens of an agent, and whether you are a plumber, pie maker, painter, the things that we talk about on this show, you can implement in your business today, and it works. Okay, real quick, a couple things. One, on Twitter, I'd love to meet you out in Twitterland. My handle is @SuperAgentsLive. The hashtag for the show is Unpack That Idea. I'm putting together a question and answer session, so I get a lot of emails from you guys. So send me your questions, and we'll get to them on the show. We'll give you a shout out. And the last thing, you're not going to want to miss future episodes. So go to the site, register. We share stuff with our list that we don't share on the show. So I'd love to see you there. All right, that's it. I hope you like it. All right, here we go.
All right.
Today on the show, we have, look, rarely do I ever have somebody back on for a repeat performance. I rarely do. I am starting to have some people back that, when you guys tell me that somebody comes on, you're like, I love this guy. Those are the people we're reaching out to. Today's guest killed it, his last interview. And look, let me give you some stats before I interview him. He's in Omaha, Nebraska. He has a team of 37. 30 of those are agents, 7 are admin. We are doing this recording right now, July 1, so mid-year to date. He's done 370 transactions, $68 million in production. Last year's GCI, $1.7 million. This year, he's going to double it to $3 million. I'm thrilled to welcome my buddy, Jeff Cohn. Hey, Jeff, thanks for taking the time again.
Toby, I really appreciate it. I'm pumped for today.
Let's get through some awesome content and give a ton of value to your listeners.
Yeah, for sure. Now, look, so you have a lot going on. You and I, we every now and again we'll have a call outside of doing this recording. Give people a little sense of all the stuff that you have going on. And look, I've talked about it, man. I think you have too much going on, but give the audience a sense of how a brain like yours functions.
Yeah. So, guys, I got into the business in 2006. I've been doing it for about 8.5 years. Came in as an agent, just an average Joe trying to sling houses, but working as a buyer's agent and listing agent. Fast forward to fall of 2013, I quit selling real estate. At that point had already built a successful team of about 12 to 15 agents, and I was netting off that team at that time around $200,000 a year. So I went into 2014, Toby, looking at the business as a business person, building a business versus working in the business, and that was something really unique. There's not a lot of agents in the country that can say that they're at a point where they can walk away from the day-to-day. That gave me the ability to work on other projects that interested me more than working as an individual agent and even building the team in Omaha. And so I've now gotten into expansion teams. I'm doing consulting and coaching. I have a property management company, a rental company. I invest in commercial real estate. I've been doing a lot of other things that have really, really grabbed all my attention, and I've had a lot of fun doing it. That's
awesome. So look, you were able to walk away. You were able to work yourself out of a job. I think that is classic CEO. That's what a CEO should do. And I think too many people don't think of working themselves out of a job. They want to be in it. Was that hard for you?
The hardest part was putting all of the responsibility on the shoulders of the agents and trusting that they could take leads I was giving to them and convert them into sales, and I could keep a large enough percentage of that sale to feed my family. And so the recommendation I give to agents, they always say, Jeff, when do you know it's the right time? Well, first off, keep your nut as small as possible. I see these agents, brand new agents, they make their first $3,000 and they go and spend it. I lived in a 1,400 square foot split entry until a year and a half ago. I stayed as modest as I could in the way I lived my life. I didn't go join an expensive country club and buy an expensive car and essentially live outside my means. What that did for me, Toby, is it gave me the ability that at the point in which I was making as much money off of the team that I was making selling real estate, I could quit selling real estate. So the best time to exit your business, in my opinion, is when you make as much money off your team as you make individually. So if you're pumping out $150,000 a year individually and you're living a pretty good life at 150, don't increase your cost of life. Just help your team get you to 150, and then you can walk away from selling and work on building your business. And the results I've had by doing that have been staggering. The fall of 2013, we sold 290 houses. Last year, the first year walking away from my business, we sold 425 houses. This year, 2015, we're going to sell 700 houses, and we're on a path next year to do over 1,000 units.
So what? Okay. So I think a lot of, that's a great philosophy. Again, I think a lot that would be tough for people to do. Cause if you're making 150, your team's making 150, you're taking a pay cut. Fundamentally. So I think a lot of people will struggle with that. But for you, Jeff, specifically, for you to, you're spending money getting leads, and I know you prospecting, lead generation is something you do phenomenally well. But all those things cost money, and then you have to trust that you're going to when you pass it over to someone, they're gonna convert it. You have to have talent. What's your mindset around, or some strategies around going out and recruiting good talent?
Right. Get ready for this one, and hopefully not all of my agents listen to this podcast, but I disagree.
Okay.
And I'm going to disagree right now with every real estate book and every real estate philosophy that exists. I don't believe what helped us become successful was talented agents. I believe what helped us to become successful were proven systems. So you plug an average agent into an average lead, but have extraordinary systems, they're going to be successful. So on our team, we start talking about culture and leads and accountability and systems and processes that we implement to have successful agents. And I think that you guys, the listeners, and you can start to see some of the reasons why we have really, really excelled, even though we haven't necessarily gone out after that top agent or that top tier agent that appears to be this rainmaker rock star. That's what traditional brokerages go after. I have always gone after the agent that's going to consistently sell 20 to 30 houses a year. They're going to make on average $60,000 to $100,000 a year, and I know I'm going to average about $1,000 every unit sale. So on average, I'm making a net $1,000 every unit sale. So our team does 500 units. I make 500 grand. I told you this year we're going to do 700 units. I'm going to net 700 grand. Simple math. It's simple math. So
Right.
when you start to think about, okay, I need to make more money. What do I need to do? You need to add leads. You need to help people learn how to convert the leads, and you need to add more agents to work the leads. People make it way too difficult, and why I think they make it difficult is they don't have systems in place to produce the results I'm talking about.
Well, so what are those systems? I mean, because I think, as both of us know, right? I mean, anybody can do 20 or 30 deals a year, right? Because you can work yourself to the bone, but you have to have systems in place to do 50 or 70 or 100.
And I'm just going to keep disagreeing with you, man.
Okay.
Everyone's going to be like, geez, Jeff Cohn and Toby don't get along at all. Not everybody can do 20 to 30 deals a year. If you guys look statistically, you look at NAR's stats last year, 19 out of 20 agents that got their real estate license were out of the business in 2 years. If they were consistently selling 20 or 30 deals, they wouldn't have gotten out of the business. That's a pretty good income. Most people that get into real estate are happy making 70 to 80 grand a year. So I don't think that that's the norm. I like to find agents that suck, that aren't having the results that they want. They're selling 5 to 10 houses a year, and I promise them that they can double their business for 3 consecutive years on my team. So getting into the systems, a lot of you have heard of like the 10 days of pain. There's a 30-day drip sequence. I mean, there's all these different things that people talk about in the industry. But bottom line is that when leads are handed over to agents, they have to be making calls. They have to be setting them up on an automatic email. They have to be setting them up on an alert every time a house hits the market that meets their original search criteria. So we have an entire plan of attack, if you will, of how to treat leads depending on which categories those leads are in. So in the first, and let me walk you through it. Let me take 3 or 4 minutes because I think this will add a lot of value. The first time a new lead comes in, we assign it to one of our agents, and we don't do round robin. We actually have one day designated to one person on a 30-day rotation. So if you're on my team once a month, you're going to be in the office from 10 a.m. in the morning till 8 p.m. at night. And when you get in at 10 a.m., you're going to call all the leads that came in from 8 p.m. the night before to 8 p.m. that night that you're physically in the office. And you're going to make a total of 3 prospecting calls to that one lead. If you don't get a hold of them, you're going to make a total of 3 calls the first day. Okay? The first call you make to them, your goal is to make it within the first 5 minutes. You want to get a hold of a new lead when they're on the internet. A lot of people say internet leads suck. The person that sucks is the agent that's not doing a good job following up with the internet lead. If you work it the right way, you can expect to see a 3 to 5% conversion ratio. Nationally, people talk about 2 to 5% ratios. What I've seen, Toby, and you'll probably agree with me with the agents I've connected with, they're really converting at probably half of 1% or maybe 1% because they're not following this process. The next 13 days, after you've made those first initial 3 calls, oh, by the way, you've also sent 2 text messages and left a voicemail. The next 13 days, you're going to make a total of 7 more calls, 1 more text message, and 1 more voicemail. And you'll also have added them to a drip campaign. And for those that don't know what drip is, and most of you do, drip is essentially a sequence of emails that you have automated. So you push a button and those emails start going out. Make those look like they're real. If it's more than a paragraph, people aren't reading it. I recommend 2 to 3 sentences. I also recommend every other drip at the bottom says sent from my Samsung Galaxy or sent from my iPhone. Make sure it says the same thing. But essentially the goal of that is to make it look authentic. No one wants to be part of a drip. They want to feel like someone's really reaching out to them. And then don't sign off by using your signature. Sign off differently each time. One time's Toby, one time's Toby Salgado, one time's your signature. But make sure that those drips are constantly changing. Now, once we get a hold of them, Toby, we then put them into one of 4 categories. One is hot, meaning they're ready to buy or sell today. One is nurture, meaning they're going to buy or sell in 3 to 6 months. One is watch, meaning they're going to buy or sell in 6 to 12 months. And then one is archive, meaning we don't think we can make money off of this individual. We have also created a whole slew of drip campaigns to go out to those individuals, depending on if they're in nurture, watch, or archive. Now, as far as the calls, the big disconnect in the industry, not only with internet leads, but also with your sphere of influence and your prospecting efforts, is not staying engaged with leads that indicate they won't be buying or selling for 3 months or further. So what we believe is that you have to physically pick up a phone and call everyone that's in nurture every 2 weeks. And you need to pick up a phone and call everyone that's in watch every 30 days. And everyone in archive every quarter. Now, that sounds like a lot of phone calls. If you're putting these numbers into a dialer like Vulcan 7 or Mojo, it really isn't very many phone calls. You can stay in contact with the database. I've gone really long without you talking. I apologize. Do you have any
No.
follow-up questions there? I have more I want to share. So.
Sure. No, there's a lot. There's a ton there. So here's what I want to know. So you again, every 30 days I'm going to have my day. So I'm getting in there. I get a lead, right? Internet lead, whatever. Somebody calls in. I get a lead. Now, what you said was that day one, you're going to call them 3 different times. Okay, so three separate times. Tell me. I have my method. Listen, here's what I with radio. Here's what I tell people do. Right, many times with radio, somebody will hear the ad and at 7 in the morning they'll call and they'll hang up, right, because they want the number. So here's what I say: step 1, call back from a block number. See if you get them. Step 2, and if you don't get them, right? Step 2 is call back with a Google Voice number. Step 3 is call back from the office line. And step 4 is to call from your cell phone, and then you can leave a message. Mm-hmm. What is your method, Jeff? Of you get a lead, you're going to call them 3 times. Tell me.
That's a great idea, but in reality, what I see the agents feeling most comfortable with is just making all of those calls from their cell phone. And I don't think that it's all a bad thing. Actually, I would argue that it's the best way to go about it, because if they see 3 different calls from the same number and the person hasn't left a voicemail, they're really wondering who that person is. Whereas if you're calling from 3 or 4 different numbers, there's no pattern, and it doesn't force them to want to call you back or respond to you when you do call. So I would argue you're better off calling from your cell phone. Also, whatever number you're calling from, it needs to be a call capture number. So if they do call back and you don't pick up, they're going to get your voicemail. So a lot of office lines, unfortunately, don't have voicemail set up on them, or they don't reroute to your cell phone. So whatever number you are calling from, make sure it's going to capture them, because most agents are on the phone when someone tries calling them, or they're out showing houses, they're out doing something. That was my main reason of having people physically in the office on that first day. I didn't want them distracted with anything else. Another layer to that, Toby, is on the day that the agent's physically in the office, we hired 1000callsaday.com to make phone calls to that agent's lead pool. So all the agents on my team have around 1,000 to 2,000 people in their database, not necessarily hot leads, but just people in general. So on their Boomtown day, we call it, because that's the day they're working the CRM system, we have a calling assistant I've hired in the Philippines from 11 in the morning till 7 o'clock at night to call not the new leads, but all of those old leads in all those different categories, so that when they can highlight new opportunities for our agent's physically there to call that lead within 5 minutes of that new opportunity being created for them.
So you're saying that, okay, your agents have between 1,000 and 2,000. You have 1,000 calls a day. So every month, right, one day a month, if you have 1,000 contacts, they're going to get called once a month from the Philippine third party system.
Calling assistant, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Everyone on our list is going to get called at least once a month by the calling assistant. But I think a lot of agents across the industry think that the calling assistant, either an internal sales agent or a virtual, has taken the place of the agent, and that is entirely not the case. Anyone in your hot, nurture, or watch should be getting called by the agent. People don't want to hear from your calling assistant. A calling assistant is great for diving in and doing data mining in your archive or in your trash or dead leads, not for calling people you've already engaged with that you have a relationship with. Those people want to hear from you. And I think too often agents aren't picking up the phone enough.
I agree with that. Most people are not picking up the phone enough. I'll tell you this. This is a real example from my life, right? So I have, and I want to find out how you suggest people build their list. But so here's the deal. So I have a list, right? I have, this pool that I have, they're all top agents. You're on the list. And I want 2 things I want from you, right? I want to get you guys on the show. 1, step 2, and then step 2 is I want to get them, sign them up for radio. Now, I was picking up the phone and I was calling these people. Hey, Jeff, what's up? This is Toby. This is my show. Blah blah blah. And I was getting, whatever my conversion rate was. I don't remember what it was. And then I got my VA, and I had her start calling and say, hey, this is Jennifer. I'm Toby Salgado's assistant. And all of a sudden, she converted better than me. And there's something about having, hey, this is Toby Salgado's assistant. I'm calling you on his behalf. That was really effective for me.
Interesting. Was it more effective, do you believe, because she was making more calls than you were making? Or was it because she was doing a better job? She was making the same amount of calls and contacts, but people were more comfortable speaking to her than speaking
I
to
don't
you?
know. Yeah, she was not making more calls than me. There was something about the notion of, hey, Toby's assistant, this guy Toby has an assistant and she's calling me on his behalf. I don't know. It just seemed more professional. So yeah. Anyhow. All right.
Interesting.
So all your people have 1,000, 2,000 people in their database. List building is extremely important. Everybody needs a list. How do you suggest people go about building a list?
Great question. And I think people make this way more difficult than it needs to be. When I started with Boomtown in 2011, I had about 500 people on my list. And let's call the list Sphere. The list you start with is anybody that would know you if you ran into them at a party or at the grocery store or whatever. That's your sphere of influence. There's three main categories for lead generation, Toby, and you'll agree with me on this. Number one is your sphere of influence. That's the best category to go after. A lot of new agents don't feel like they have a very large sphere, and that's okay, because there's the second category, which is prospecting. Prospecting is calling anyone and everyone that doesn't know you if you ran into them. It's your just listed, just sold, expired, FSBO, circle prospecting calls. It's also your open houses, your masterminds, anytime you're out and about trying to talk to people about real estate. And then your third category is internet leads, and we'll put social media into that category as well. One of the things that's made our team unique is that we focus on all three buckets. I train all three buckets. And when we talk about lead conversion, I'm not just talking about internet lead conversion. I'm talking about sphere and prospecting lead conversion, which doesn't ever get talked about, I feel like. Very rarely is that talked about. And so going back to that conversion piece, something else we've done to be extremely accountable is we literally physically sit each of our agents down on a weekly basis with our success coach for 20 minutes. Every Monday, the agents come into the office. They know they're going to have a 20-minute face-to-face with the success coach to look at how they have treated all of their leads, not just internet leads, but their sphere leads, their prospecting leads. We're going to look at the categories. We're going to look at how often they called. We can even see with Boomtown how quickly the agents have called on an internet lead from the moment it registered to the moment that they were contacted over the phone. And we're holding them accountable to this. We're talking to them about this, and we're even having them put their statistics, that the results they're getting on a weekly basis, into what we call our agent accountability matrix. Last year in 2014, our team made 60,000 prospecting calls. This isn't including all the calls the calling assistants made, which was about another 100,000. We made 60,000 calls as a team. What we found was out of every call, we had about a 20% call to contact ratio. And out of every contact, we had a 20% contact to appointment ratio. And out of every 2.5 appointments our agents realized, they were able to sell a house. Now, what does that break down to? That breaks down to every 125 call attempts equals a sale. Average commission on sales in Omaha is $5,000. How long does it take to make 125 calls hand dialing? You're looking at about 4 hours. So I tell my agents, I'm like, guys, 4 hours to make $5,000 is $1,250 an hour, $1,250 an hour. Why aren't you hitting the phones more? And so we hold our agents accountable to 6 things in that one-on-one meeting. We also hold them accountable in a team meeting every Monday morning at 9:30. All 30 of my agents report to a team meeting. We track that on a weekly basis, and they have to stand up and report how many call attempts they made the week previous, how many contacts they had, how many appointments they went on, how many executed contracts they have, how many contracts they're currently negotiating, and how many new listings they took. So you talk about extreme accountability. I've never seen a team in the nation that does that much, that holds their agents accountable that much. And when I tell people they need to do it, they tell me I'm insane and that agents won't do it. If you're interested in seeing this in practice, come check out Omaha, Nebraska. We do it every Monday morning.
Got it. You know what? You know what would be cool, man, is this might help your list building efforts, but why don't you do a Google Hangout? Every Monday morning you just fire up the camera and do a Google Hangout and let people around the world watch.
Check it out. That's a good idea. I should do that.
So
yeah, that's a great idea.
So look, let me go back though. So I don't know that I got a great answer to my question. So
I didn't get there. List building. Yeah. Right?
Good.
Okay. So you're a new agent, you have 500 people. Number one, every person you come in contact with, you're asking them 3 questions. First question, who do you know that's thinking about buying or selling a house? And then they'll say, most of the time they'll say they don't really know of anyone. You'll say, you know what, that's all right. You'll probably come in contact with someone. And when you do, it'd mean the world to me if you'd be willing to refer them back to me. Have you yourselves considered buying or selling anytime in the near future? Most people will say, not really. We'll probably do something in a couple years. Say, great, not a problem. When you make that decision, I'd love to be the person you choose to work with. And then here's the close. And this is how you build your list. It would be super easy for me if you feel comfortable just giving me your guys' contact information. I'd love to get you set up on 2 automatic emails. Number 1 is an email alert every time a house hits the market in your neighborhood. Now, some MLSs will do an email every time a house sells, but ours doesn't. So we say every time a house hits the market in your current neighborhood, I'd love to set you up on an automatic email so you can keep tabs of what's going on in your neighborhood. It's a total value add. I don't get anything out of it other than just providing you value. And then, of course, if you're ever curious about what your house is worth, you can just reply to that email update and let me know that you'd like me to come over and do a market analysis. The second automatic email I'd like to set up for you is the next house you're going to purchase. And I don't care if that's in a year or 10 years from now, but if you know you want to be on a lake and the $500,000 price point with a ranch, with a walkout, whatever it might be, let me set you up on an automatic email. It won't come every day. I'll just set it up to come out to you once a month. And just for fun, you can kind of keep tabs on that dream house of yours. Would that be okay?
So that's very direct. That's very easy. I mean, what do you suggest, Jeff, for the person who just feels like, man, I can't. That asking, hey, are you thinking about buying or selling? Do you know anybody who's buying or selling? That feels kind of a lot of people.
Get out of the business. That's an easy one, Toby. If you don't feel comfortable with that dialogue, you shouldn't be in real estate.
Okay. All right.
Guys, we're in a service industry. The problem with the person that doesn't feel comfortable with that dialogue is they don't believe they're providing a service. And people always say, "Oh, we're in the sales business." All you're selling in the business that we're in is yourself. You don't sell houses. Houses sell themselves. So the sales part of what we do is getting people to know us, like us, trust us. Once they've done that, you're not doing any more selling. You're providing a service. So when you're talking people through that dialogue, you're trying to get them as a candidate or a subscriber to the service that you will eventually provide to them. If you can't give them value to enter your database, then you need to start rethinking your process. There has to be a reason that person should be a subscriber to your Facebook page or a subscriber to your podcast or your blog or your automatic email. And when you start feeling more confident about the value that you can give people, you're going to start making more phone calls. You're going to start opening up your mouth more often. And I think the one that I just shared with everybody listening today is the most simple. Who doesn't want to know what's going on in their neighborhood? I want that right now. I want to know every time a house sells in my neighborhood. Sure. Who doesn't?
Yep.
I want an automatic email every time my dream house hits the market. I want to see it, even though I can't afford it today. I still want to see it. It's fun just to click on it, look at a couple pictures, and think, wow, in 2 years, I'm going to call Toby, and I'm going to buy a house with him, and this is the house that I'm going to buy. And people want that. I cannot imagine people saying no to those two value pieces. So that would be the number one thing. Number two, anytime an internet lead registers and you have captured an email address and a name, put them into a database, but don't let them die in that database. Keep feeding the database, watering the garden, so to speak. How do you feed a database? Well, communicating with the database is how you feed it. You can communicate in several ways. A great book is The 7 Levels of Communication by Michael Mayer. The best way to communicate with someone's face-to-face, but it's very hard to do that with somebody, especially someone that entered your database years ago. So one of the ways to communicate would be through email marketing. So you're going to send them something of value again every month or every 2 weeks. I use viral marketing. And I apologize if these sound like plugs to businesses, but these are the businesses that have helped us get to where we are today. So viral marketing will send out a video twice a month, and they'll write a whole article about the video. So right now, we actually do a video every 2 weeks. We do one about upcoming events in Omaha. Everybody wants to click on it. By the way, we can track everyone that does click. We have a database right now, 50,000 people, and we get about 1,000 to 5,000 clicks on every video. So we talk about an upcoming Omaha event. We've created a cool video and a write-up about that event. And then the other second week, we do a video about our vendor partners. And the vendor partners aren't pitching themselves. They're giving our audience techniques of what they can do. For example, like a carpet cleaning company won't pitch themselves of why they're great at carpet cleaning. They just get on and talk for 2 minutes about things that we can do to maintain our carpets in our house, or things we can do to maintain our yard, or whatever the thing is that vendor does. And what we've done now is we've provided value to these people that we've built this huge database, and we're giving them value add. And then every quarter, I talk real estate. I get on and do a market update where I talk about the real estate market. I ask for referrals. I talk about, if you're thinking about listing your house. But outside of that one or two, every quarter selling ourselves, we're giving value, extreme value. And people love that. People love it. We know they love it because we're tracking it and we can see that they're clicking it and that they're watching it.
Okay, that's good stuff. So I have a couple questions for you. So a quick one is about your database, right? So earlier what you said, Jeff, is everybody's in your database and you're going to mark them. You're going to segment your database by warm or watch or hot or whatever. Now, how else do you segment your database? Do you segment it by hot, buyer, hot seller? Like,
Yeah. So all those categories are broken down into into buyer and into seller.
Okay.
So we actually have different drips for sellers, obviously, than we do for buyers. So Boomtown actually categorizes them that way. So you have hot buyer, hot seller, and then you have the nurture seller, nurture buyer, watch seller. The next thing that it gets kind of gray, and a lot of people don't know how to handle this, and I'll address how we choose to handle it. It's the person that registers that says they were registering because they're taking a class and they wanted to see some pictures of houses, and they're never going to buy or sell with you. Maybe they'll refer to you, but you're never going to do a transaction with them. We choose to put those people into trash. And we don't drip trash. We put them in the category of let's never call them again. Because if we put them into archive, our calling assistants are going to call them. They're going to go to our email list. We're going to give them attention. And we only want to be, again, watering the garden on top of leads that we believe one day will refer business to us or actually use us. Also, anyone that has not given us a good email and a good phone number, so we don't have an email or a phone number, that one automatically goes to trash as well. But if it's somebody that just isn't sure, they don't give you an exact time, but you think eventually you could make money off of them if you're giving them things of value and staying in contact with them, then I would recommend you put them into an archive category. I did want to share another stat that I heard a couple weeks ago that I thought was fascinating. This is another NAR stat. Out of a big group of people, I think it was like 2,000 or 3,000 people surveyed, 87% said they would use the same agent again that they had used on their most recent transaction. That blew my mind. So we're doing a pretty dang good job. 87% of people said they'd use their same agent.
Sure. Now,
But then they interviewed another group of people and asked them if that had bought or sold their second property, and they asked them what percentage used the same agent from the previous time they bought or sold a property, and it was 7%. And this group of people, the reason they said they didn't use the same agent was because they couldn't remember their name.
Yep. Absolutely.
Well, why can't they remember the name? Because agents collect commission checks and move on to the next transaction. And if we looked at these transactions like we look at, a garden, you would never go to your garden, take all the strawberries, and then let the plant wither away and die and never come back. Or, your apple tree, you pick all the apples today and you cut the tree down. You're excited that next year more apples are going to come. Well, guess what? Those apples don't just come. You have to build relationships with people. And I love, like Brian Buffini, I think is a great coach with this, talking about, don't worry about a database of 1,000 people. All you need is a database of 10 people. And I think the average is every human being comes in contact with 7 people a year, that they have the potential of being the influential reason that person goes and works with you. So all you need is, we call them champions. You need 10 champions. If they all referred 7 people a year, that's 70 transactions. That'd be pretty dang good.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
one last question on segmenting your database. So, you obviously are going to have customized emails, drips, for your hot seller versus your hot buyer. Now, do you segment it by gender or house value?
We do not.
Okay.
We look at our business as a unit business. You could do that, and Boomtown actually has something in there where you can create entire groups based on location, price, demographics. You could even have like a list of doctors in one category and dentists in another. Let's say you're like a contact for a university that just specializes in doctors that come in, or residents, or whatever. We could do it, but up to this point, we've chosen not to do that.
I think the more segmentation you can get, the better. And I think especially, I think that you should obviously at minimum go hot seller, hot buyer, but I think also you should go hot seller boomer, hot seller or buyer millennial, because you obviously want to talk to the way they're going to communicate with a millennial, both in terms of that they want a phone call. A boomer wants a phone call, a millennial wants a video or a text. So I think
you are dead on, Toby. We have fallen short in that category. You are absolutely right. And I actually had a call yesterday with my success manager at Boomtown, and they are stressing that. So they're actually recommending, if you have people segmented into certain neighborhoods or areas of your city, when you do your email drip and when you do your video emails that go out, you can make those specific to that area that person's looking in.
Right.
So think how awesome that would be, is instead of me doing 2 videos a month, I do 8 videos a month. And I make them market specific for the areas and price points that those leads are in. That's the future. Absolutely, you hit it right on the head there.
So look, I want to talk about, you are big in outbound calls, right? You're big and you're good at talking to your database, whether it's email, video, or calls. What are your thoughts on actually different types of farming, right? And specifically going out and doing some door knocking. Do you like that because you have all these stats, right? 20% of calls, you're going to make an appointment. 20% of those, whatever. Or no, I'm sorry. 20%.
You're going to get your face to face. Yep.
Yeah.
20% of calls, you're going to get an appointment, and 20% of the appointments you go on, out of the calls you make, 20% of them will answer,
Yeah.
and out of the people that answer, 20% will go on an appointment, and out of every 2.5 appointments we go on, we get a sale. Door knocking. So this is what I'll say to this. I get agents all the time reaching out to me on Facebook or wherever they call me, and they want to know if XYZ is going to work for them. And what I always tell them is yes, everything works if you're going to work it. Yeah. Every system works if you're going to work the system. And so I tell people, do what you're going to do. And I don't know if I made that up or if I've heard that somewhere, but just do it by Nike. Do what you will do. If your thing is open houses, then do open houses. If your thing is asking people at church for referrals, then do it as long as it's working, and track it. Find out how much time are you spending, how many leads are you getting, how many people are you working with, how many contracts are you executing, and how much money are you making. And what I would recommend to anyone listening today is pick 3 things that are all in different categories, 3 things that you like to do, and put a third of your time into each of those buckets. And then at the end of the year, analyze the way you spent your time. And you might find that 70% of your commission came from one of those 3 buckets. Well, guess what? The next year, you probably want to put a little more focus towards that bucket instead of doing a third, and a third. Maybe you're doing, more like 6/10 to that bucket and then splitting 2/10 into the other 2 buckets. We track 10 buckets, and every year we introduce 3 new buckets and we delete 3 buckets out. And we're tracking ROI from 10 different lead sources, and that's all internet lead. Last year, 225 of our transactions came directly from internet leads. And we know out of those 225 where each lead came from. I even know, Toby, how many houses were shown to one lead versus how many houses were shown from another lead source. So I know how much effort my agents have to put in on a Craigslist lead versus a Facebook lead versus an AdWord lead, etc. We also know how many showings are occurring on each of those listings depending on what lead source it came from. We know the average price point, how much commission income we make from each of those lead sources, because it's not always about how many leads you're getting. I think it's more about how quickly can we convert that lead, what's the average price point of that lead, and at the end of the day, how much money are we making off of that lead source?
That sounds like a lot of work, man. I mean,
it's not a lot of work.
Okay.
All you've got to do is every time you get a lead, you need to notate the day it came in and where the lead came from. And then every time a lead goes pending, you need to go into your Excel spreadsheet, your CRM, wherever you're tracking top producer, and you just need to put in there, where did the lead come from? So you make sure that's still in there. How many houses did you have to show them? So I showed with John and Jane Doe that came from Craigslist. So I put the lead as Craigslist. I say, I think I showed them about 12 houses. So I put in 12. I also want to track any relationships you have with lenders and vendors. You always want to know who your clients are using. That will help you in future negotiations on your MSAs. So we track what title company did they use, or what attorney did they use, what inspection company, what home warranty company, and what lender. We track that on every transaction. And then you're going to track the commission that you made. Was it a 2.4, 2.8, 3.6? And now if you do that 700 times, which we will do this year, you have some really awesome data.
Yeah. So what is you have 3 channels, then you get another, you retire, you have 10 channels, you retire 3, whatever. What has been, day in and day out over the last 10 years for you, Jeff, what is the most successful channel, both in terms of...
Yeah, no. If we're just talking internet lead, I'm going to have one conversation. Number 1 is Sphere.
Yeah.
I don't want to ever lead anyone astray. Your best place to focus your time is your sphere of influence. Half of our transactions last year were directly in our sphere and or were referred from our sphere. But talking internet, because that's where a lot of people want to focus their time, our number 1 has been Google AdWords. Now, what I've found is in some markets, people say AdWords sucks, but Realtor.com is awesome. And some people say Realtor.com sucks, but Zillow is awesome, or Craigslist is awesome. I don't care what's awesome. Just do all of them and determine based on statistics and analytics what works the best, not just an idea of what works the best. And I think too often people make a determination based on the results they get in 3 months. One thing we found out of all the 225 unit sales we had last year in 2014 from the internet, on average, Toby, it took 6 months from the date that lead registered to the date it went under contract. So a lot of people are making a determination as to how successful a lead source is based on the results they have in the first 3 months. Yeah. They have to give it 12 months. I argue at least 12 months to make a decision. And that's why I told you we kick 3 horses off the team and add 3 horses on the team every 12 months because we have the data to back us up on the decisions that we're making there. But Google AdWords, Realtor.com, Zillow, Craigslist, Bing, Facebook, those have been our top internet lead sources.
Okay. What about, I told you before we started recording, I'm in the middle of creating this Facebook, a program or a course, and we're going to cover, buying ads there. How what's your success been like? Or
we have had phenomenal success on Facebook. I believe Facebook will be the biggest internet lead generator in the country in 12 to 24 months from now. And it's exactly because the thing you just recently brought up about the drip emails, you can be very, very specific.
Yeah.
Google AdWords casts a net to every person that searches the word Omaha, Nebraska, or buy house Omaha. Facebook only is searching people that have a college degree, or that have a family, or that are have XYZ. You can be very, very specific. You can pick men, women, black, white, Mormon, whatever the thing is that you're wanting to search. You can do that with Facebook because they have that data. And Google, I think, once wishes that they were there. They're unfortunately aren't. They're not there. I don't think they'll ever be there. But Facebook did it. They're there, man, and I've had a great success there. The clicks are less expensive in our market than on AdWords, and we're having awesome success. So, yeah, I know you had talked to me a little before the call about offering some modules to train people on how, the best way to create a Facebook page, the best way to generate leads on that Facebook page, and all sorts of other stuff. I'm definitely signing up for that, Toby. I think that's a heck of an idea, and I've never seen anything like that offered at the level you're going to offer.
No, I agree. And thanks for that. No, but I think, if all your people have 1,000 to 2,000 people in their database, right? You can create a custom audience. You can take that database, upload it to Facebook, right? And then obviously create ads, send them right to, only to those people, as well as you can create a lookalike audience, right? So you have your people, and then you can create another audience that looks very similar to it in terms of X, Y, and Z. So, well, look, so let's move to some of the other stuff you're doing. So, you've given tons and tons of nuggets here for people to go and implement. Hopefully they'll do it today. But you are, you've 2013, you stopped selling real estate, you're pursuing all these other, passion projects. What's your latest passion project that you're playing with?
I'd say number one is expansion. And what we have found, Toby, in all the podcasts we've been in, and all the mastermind groups we go to, and all the travels we've had, we find that agents are just overwhelmed with the clients they're working, and they don't take the time. Everyone has it, but they don't take it to hire their first transaction coordinator, to pay $3,000 a month or $10,000 a month or whatever it might be to generate leads on the internet, to create a website, to create the Facebook page, to create the Instagram page and the LinkedIn page, and to hire showing assistants, which I haven't even gotten into yet, but we have 3 full-time people on our team that all they do is show houses and open doors, to hire transaction coordinators, to hire calling assistants from the Philippines or internally from your own market. There's all these extra things we do that have helped us get to where we are today. So my idea was, why not provide all of that for agents across the country? And so we created Elite Real Estate Systems. You can check it out on our website. It's eliterealestatesystems.com. And by the way, all of the tools and everything that's helped us get to where we are today, I've also created a link on there called Real Estate Tools and Services if you want to find out a little bit more about some of the businesses that we're currently using to get us to 700 sales this year. But as far as expansion goes, and that is my next thing, I want to find an individual agent in every real estate office in the country that wants all of these aspects taken care of for them. So all they have to do is focus on selling real estate and building the team in their office. And my goal with that is every person that raises their hand and volunteers to be a hub leader for expansion for Elite Real Estate Systems, I'm going to help them exit their business and run a successful real estate business and not have to be doing the day-to-day idiosyncrasies that are holding them down and keeping them from reaching their highest potential.
Well, so unpack that a little bit.
So let's say you're an agent in San Diego.
Yeah.
Okay, and you're listening to this podcast today, and you're just overwhelmed. You're selling 20, 30 houses a year. You're hearing about this guy talking about selling 700, and you're kind of suspect as to if he's really even doing it, but he's saying he's doing it. And there's agents across the country that are killing it, and you don't want to have to climb the ladder. There's a lot of tiers. I've been doing this 9 years, working very hard, visiting. I've been to 30 different top real estate teams, brick and mortar locations. I've read every book, listened to every podcast, Toby. And there's a lot of people that don't want to have to go down that road, but they want the results. But a lot of people don't want to put in the effort to get the results. So what our company is doing is we're saying, you know what? We will help build the infrastructure for you to get the same results we've gotten. We'll take a percentage of every sale that you have in those markets as a referral arrangement, and we'll give you a website. We'll pay for it. We'll generate leads to you. We'll pay for it. We'll provide a weekly coaching, success call, accountability call Every week, it'll be done by Jeff Cohn. I'll be the one on the phone with you on a weekly basis for an hour, helping you build the business. And we'll even provide for you a transaction coordinator, either physically located in Omaha, if you don't have a space for them to sit in your market, or we'll hire somebody and place them in your market to work all the transactions for you. We'll take it even further by creating marketing service agreements for you to add more money for you to market and to generate more leads. And we will provide you a calling assistant. All of this for free. Everything I do for you in your market is free. The only time I make money is when you make money. And that is what's currently broken with the traditional coaching system in the United States today, is the coaches are making $2,000, $4,000 every single month. Thank you very much. I'll keep depositing my checks. And the people that are being coached aren't being held accountable. The people that are being coached aren't getting the results they want because they're not being pushed and prodded, and the results are not tied. Obviously the money that those coaches are making, those results that agent's having are not tied in any way to the success of that coach helping lead that person. And I feel like this expansion team model is going to be the solution to that. I know there will be people that want to sign up that we'll choose not to partner with because they're not a good fit, but we do have an entire recruiting program in place to help determine who we think the ponies are that are going to be winners. And we're looking to expand right now. So if you're listening to this, reach out to me. I'd love the opportunity to talk to you more about it.
So yeah, that's great. And by the way, like I fully endorse this guy, man. Jeff's a good guy. So I if you're thinking about maybe working with him, I would tell you, like, I'm endorsing him. He's okay. But look, Jeff.
Thanks, Toby.
What is that? So the pony, right, that you choose to work with? I mean, you're doing a lot of work for free, right? So the onus is on you to get these people up and going. What does that person look like? What's the ideal candidate?
Yep. I need a person that wants to make real estate their full-time job, so they're not working part-time somewhere else. I need somebody that wants to be more successful than anyone else in their family. They want to see better results than any person that's ever come before them. So they're motivated. They're eager to be successful. I want somebody that has a track record of success. So when I talk to them the first time over the phone, I'm going to say, tell me some stuff you've accomplished in your life. Maybe they were the top wrestler in their state, or maybe they ran a business before getting into real estate and had all sorts of success until the market fell out from under them. I want to find someone that has just consistently had success in their lives, but for some reason with real estate, maybe they don't have the budget, maybe they haven't had the time yet, maybe they haven't had the right direction. They just need somebody to help put them on the right path and to get extraordinary results.
That's interesting. Have you read The Ultimate Sales Machine by Chet Holmes?
Not yet.
You should.
Nope, it's on my list.
Oh, okay, so you're aware of it. Yeah, he goes through how to find superstars for your team, and one of the things that he says, right, and he gives you scripts there, and what he will say is, have these people come on, that I forget how he does it, but he gets them on the phone and says, no matter what, to everybody, he's like, yeah, I don't think you're a good fit. You just don't seem like you're, like you have what it takes. And he said the people, and he'll tell them, hey, listen, I know this is what I do, so I know if people. What he wants is he wants people to go, hey, screw you, dude. I'm going to make it, right? Those people that fight back, he's like, okay, those are the people I want. The people that roll over, he's like, I don't want you. So so he pushes them away.
That's a great one. I love it. That's totally true.
Yeah, grab that book.
Okay.
So I understand personality type. Now look, let's talk about coaching for a second, because in my mind, Jeff, there's coaching, there's training, and then there is just straight accountability. And I think too many times that's what coaches do. You pay them $1,000 and they just want to keep you accountable. I think most people, when they sign up for coaching, they want to learn new strategies and tactics that they don't know about. They want to learn how to implement them. Not just what they are. And then, I hear too many coaches. I won't name conferences, but you go to a conference, you have this big name coach up there, and he'll say big bucket stuff. You should be doing X, Y, and Z. And I know for a fact, I know that dude does not know how to do it, but he's just telling us. So
he's never done it.
Yeah.
He's never freaking done it, man. He's never ran a team that did 1,000 units. He ran a team 20 years ago that sold 50 houses.
Right. No. So talk to me about coaching. What's your outlook?
Yeah. So I don't believe on ongoing coaching. You know what? I think real estate agents, our business is not difficult, guys. We're making it way too complicated. This is like the most simple business to be in my opinion. You generate a lead, you work the lead, you give them a great value, they close on a house and you make money. When you start to turn it into a business, you get agents to work leads. They convert the leads. They make money. You get a little percentage of it. You build a system to make the process awesome for the clients and for the agents. This isn't rocket science. So I don't know why people are spending all this money on a continual basis. I think you nailed it right on the head that people want a roadmap to get to the place where maybe I am today and some of the other top agents are in the country, but that roadmap doesn't exist. I don't see very many roadmaps out there that apply to the way real estate's done today. There's roadmaps from 10 years ago. They're outdated. So what we offer, and I talked to you about this a little bit before the hangout today, is we offer a consulting program. It's a one-day, 12-hour workshop. If you go to that eliterealestatesystems.com link and click on consulting, it has an outline of everything you'll get in that crash course, 12 hours with me. There's even a video on there that highlights a few of the top things we'll do. And what you'll go away with is a roadmap for you specifically. I'll spend a couple hours with you consulting, and you'll get a roadmap of what do you need to do in your market to take your business to the next level. Now, the next level for you might be from 30 to 100 transactions, or 200 to 400, or 700 to 1,000, wherever it might be. I charge $3,000. I take $1,500 up front when you make the reservation. That's non-refundable if you don't come. And then I take the other $1,500 at the end of the event. What I offer is 100% guarantee that you will get at least $3,000 value. If you come to Omaha and at the end of the event you say, Jeff, this was bogus. I didn't feel like I got anything out of it. I'm not going to pay you the other $1,500. I'll also reimburse the deposit. So it's 100% guarantee that if you don't get $3,000 of value, I don't want to make any money. I offer that to people that want to start their own teams. They don't want to do the expansion model, but they want to learn more. I want to pay it forward. And by the way, Toby, I've offered this over 100 times to agents across the country for free in the past to pay it forward from all the people that allowed me to visit them without charging me. But no one I visited gave me 12 hours. So I wanted to create a workshop for agents, top level agents, for people that want to be top level, where I give them everything and anything I have access to. I'll also open them up to our Google Drive that has all of our proven systems and strategies and Excel spreadsheets, and people that come to the 12-hour workshop will have access to that for life. So every time we add something, every time we build something, just for coming one time, I will always allow you to have access to all that information for free.
That's good stuff. So you know what I would like. So what piqued my interest? What you just said, Jeff. You said this roadmap is built for you, right? So that is the way I take that is I'm going to build Jeff Cohn is going to build it for my personality type. In my case, I'm high D, high I. There are other people out there that are high S, high C, right? Yep. We're going to do different kinds of things. You know what I've thought about this a lot. And I think I think somebody can create this. Nobody's done this. I would love to see some kind of matrix that outlines. If we think about leads, Jeff, right? We have online leads, we have offline leads, we have paid leads, we have free leads, right? They all vary in quality. They're all different, right? In terms of both sales cycle and quality. I would love for somebody to build a matrix that says, okay, if you have $1,000 that you can devote towards marketing, this is the blend and mix of where you should deploy capital, right? $1,000, $3,000, $5,000, $10,000, whatever.
It's hilarious you bring it up. Boomtown just did it.
Really?
So, Boomtown created an algorithm, and they just rolled it out 2 weeks ago. And you can literally, and guys, just for the audience that's listening, Toby and I have not connected on this yet. So this totally sounds like the sales plug here. But Boomtown calls me up 2 weeks ago and says, Jeff, my spend is $8,000 a month. And I put $6,000 of that into Google AdWords and $2,000 into Facebook. And then periodically I'll throw another $1,000 or $2,000 into a couple other venues. Well, what they want to do is they have found some days in Omaha and San Diego and different markets, Google AdWords only costs $1 a click, but other days it's $3 a click. So on the days it's $3 a click, why spend $3 if we can go over to Facebook and spend $1 or Bing and spend 50 cents?
Yeah.
So their algorithm literally is organic and will respond to how much we're paying per click so that you get the most bang for your dollar.
That's interesting. I have a radio client in Baltimore. This guy does 700 deals a year, kind of like you. Chris Cook, good guy. But what he does this thing where and then it's through Facebook, but he hold on, I'm thinking about this. I think it's like Wednesday through Sunday from 7 p.m. to, he will only run his campaign from Wednesdays through Sundays, 7 p.m. to 11 p.m. And he does it specifically through those times because he can get clicks for like 50 cents, like super cheap. I don't know how he.
That's exactly what Boomtown's going to do. They're going to look to see what the cost is per click per market,
Yeah.
and then make adjustments depending on how much you're spending. So month end, you'll have 2 to 3 times as many leads generated for the same dollar amount. It's amazing.
Yeah. Well, I wonder
amazing.
we'll see if it works. I mean, you can talk about it, but it's got to work.
Yep. Well, and again, I'm going to run it. They asked if I would be one of their betas, so we're going to run it for 6 months, and I'll be able to look at my last 6 months of $8,000 a month versus my next 6 months of $8,000 a month, and I'll tell you in 6 months from now, Toby, if it worked or not.
Okay, cool. All right, man. We have to start wrapping up. Look, Jeff, you're a young guy, right? How old are you? You're like 34 or something like that.
I'm 33. Yep.
33 years old. Super successful. I mean, obviously, I think everybody, everybody that knows you or even listens to you today, I mean, everybody, obviously, 10 years down the road, you're going to be more successful than I am, Jeff, which that sucks. But look, so a couple things. One, who has been a mentor to you? How'd you get, you're, again, being a young guy, how did you get this knowledge base so quickly?
Yep. Nobody gets to where they are without a great mentor next to them, and everybody that's anybody will admit that. Let me share this first. Right outside of college, I didn't know what industry I wanted to go into. I had lots of great opportunities, and I did informational interviews, Toby. I called the top 30 people that I looked up to that are in all different occupations, and I asked them if I could spend 2 hours with them, buy them lunch, and learn from them. And by doing that, it pointed me to going into real estate because there's no glass ceiling. Once I got into real estate, I did the same thing in my local market. I took 30 of the top agents in Omaha out to lunch, picked their brains. By the way, I told all of them I'd be the number one agent in Omaha within 10 years, and I am. And not in Omaha, in the entire state of Nebraska. They all remind me of that and give me crap all the time. And obviously, I got to a point in Omaha where I wasn't learning enough. And so I took that nationally and picked 30 of the top teams in the nation, and I went and learned from them. I picked 30 of the top podcasts, including yours, and learned from all the other agents. I picked up every real estate book and learned. And what I found was I started finding people that I best connected with, that I was able to add to my calendar to have a repeating mastermind 30-minute phone call with them on a 2-week basis. And I have 5 key people that I mastermind with every 2 weeks about rebuilding real estate teams, about expansion, about coaching. So whatever the subject may be that you want to get better at, it might be working out, it might be becoming more spiritual, it might be being a better husband or wife to your spouse. Find someone that's awesome at that, and then have them hold you accountable to it. Extreme accountability, extreme focus will get you any results that you want.
Got it. Okay. So tell me, do you feel comfortable saying a name that
Absolutely. Tim Heil, Austin, Texas.
Yep.
He's one of the top Keller Williams agents.
Yep.
Great guy. We have a standing call every 2 weeks, and I've learned a ton from Tim. He motivates me, he inspires me. Sam Monreal. Sam was also on Tim's team for a long time. Sam is a real estate consultant. He and I speak every 2 weeks. Gary Keller is not a personal mentor or friend of mine, but I feel like he is because I've read so much of his stuff and believe so much in the things that he's created. So I would absolutely add him to that list. Michael Hananel out of Los Angeles. He owned a KW office for a while. He actually still might. He does commercial investing. He's my personal accountability partner through a group called GoBundance that I think I spoke to you about a little bit last time we talked. For anyone out there that is super, super motivated and has a net worth of over $1 million and wants to be surrounded by just total badass individuals, GoBundance is a special group, somewhat of a private group. It right now consists of 100 individuals. It's man only. So ladies, I apologize. You'll have to start your own female GoBundance group at some point. But this group is insane, and it honestly has put a fire under me. I've been part of it for 6 months. And you partner up with guys that are, worth $100 million. We had Robert Kiyosaki spoke to this group 3 months ago. But you're given accountability partners every 100 days, and you focus in on things that are most important in your life, in your business, in all the different aspects, areas that you want to grow, and you have partners. So I kind of went off on a tangent.
That's
with
right.
that.
No. And yeah, dude, I was at David Osborne's house last summer.
Oh, perfect. Yeah, David is one of the elders. He's one of the guys that started the entire thing. Yep.
Yeah. So yeah, I've been to one of those events. They're fun.
Awesome.
Okay. Okay. Look, we always ask for a book recommendation. I know. Look, I will
rock you through some books, man.
Let's do it.
Can I go there?
But here's
7 levels. I already mentioned 7 levels.
Yeah, and I've
read
had
7 levels.
I've had Michael on the show as well.
Awesome. Yep, Michael's a great guy, and he's actually part of GoBundance as well.
Yep.
I met Michael a couple months ago. How to Win Friends and Influence People, guys. This book was written in the early 1900s by Dale Carnegie. He hit it out of the park. Everyone should read it at least one time. I've read it several times. How to Win Friends and Influence People. The one thing by Gary Keller.
Yep.
It's not even necessarily a residential real estate book. It's a be better in all aspects of your life book. The One Thing. Some others that stand out. I would say read The Secret or watch it. I think the idea behind The Secret, I believe in it, and I think that it's applicable. And I could keep going and going, but those, I guess, let's focus on those. Those were the top ones. Oh, 5 Dysfunctions of a Team. Was another one I wanted to bring up. The 5. If you're going to build a team, you and your team need to read the 5 Dysfunctions of a Team.
Absolutely. And look, everybody, out of all those books, I would agree with all those books. I don't know about The Secret. I've not read that one. But The One Thing is fantastic. It's a great Audible listen, and you can get a free copy using our link. Just go to audibletrial.com/superagentslive. Grab a copy. Last summer I was at I went to the Boomtown Conference in Charleston. On my way back, the flight popped in The One Thing. By the time I got to San Diego, I'd ripped through it, and it was great. So everybody go get that book. Look, Jeff, you got a lot of stuff going on. I appreciate you taking the time out of your day to share with me and the audience. If somebody wants to maybe join your team, if somebody wants to jump on a phone call with you, if somebody wants to look at take a deeper look at some of these other projects that you're doing, where can people find you?
Yeah, just go out. We made it super simple. Just go to eliterealestatesystems.com, and you can actually see on the top right, you can Facebook friend me, add me to Google Plus, and follow my YouTube channel. And then at the very bottom of each of the tabs, whatever you're interested in, there's a way that you can just email me there, or I'll just share my email right now. It's jeff@omahaselite.com, jeff@omahaselite.com. And I'll tell you this, Toby, I was actually concerned a year and a half ago when I started doing podcasts that I'd get too many people reaching out. I get tons of people that reach out to me, and I love it. For me, it's pay it forward. So if there's one question you have about building your business or something that you need to do to change things, you just don't really know how to get past that hump, I'll give you free advice. Reach out to me. We'll schedule a time. I'll talk to you for 15 or 20 minutes. I would love to connect with you.
It does not get any better than that. Thanks, Jeff. All right, buddy, that's it. I appreciate you coming on. We'll have you back on in 6 months. I want to hear about if Boomtown nailed it.
All right. Sounds like a plan. I really appreciate it, Toby.
Anytime,
Thank you
buddy.
for giving me this opportunity.
All
Thank
right.
you.
See you, man.
Yep.
Let's go. Yeah.